I talked about this last week, and I am going to talk about this maybe every time I come on for the next 4 years, because it is time to fire back. It is time to fire back at the propaganda and disinformation machine that has been going on for way too long in this country. And Democrats allowed it to happen. They didn't fight back. They just always did the let's move on, let's just stay focused, let's do the right things, let's say the right things, let's not make anybody mad, let's not make anybody sad, let's just stay the course. And staying the course bit you in the ass, and it bit you in the ass hard. How? Because we allowed this ridiculous disinformation machine to take over. And I want to give you an example of the language and the disinformation machine that they use. And I'm not talking about every once in a while. I'm talking about constantly. Do you remember when I stopped that clip of the Oklahoma governor talking about the Bibles in schools? Remember I said, remember that term, radical left? How many times have you heard the term radical left from that side? You didn't hear it once or twice. You hear it nearly almost every single time they open their mouth. And I made this point last week. When you repeat over and over and over and over again things, it starts to stick in people's brains. I made the point last week. When you study for a test, you study for it over and over and over again. That's how it sticks in your brain. Now you take the test and you remember the answer. If they said it once, twice, not that effective. If they say it over and over and over again, it works. And not only do they come up with little terms like radical left or any of these terms, they come up with talking points that they say over and over and over again that sticks with people. And when you have such a massive machine, whether it be Fox News, whether it be Newsmax, whether it be Joe Rogan, all these podcasters that you see in the top 15, Dan Bongino, Megyn Kelly, Ben Shapiro, Candace Owens. I mean, these people are relentless. They don't stop. They are in their faces 24/7. These podcasts aren't an hour long. They're 3 straight hours, and they're unregulated. People unqualified talking about politics, but they are repeating the same talking points over and over and over again. Here's an example of this is one of these guys, Benny Johnson. This is what he posts today. Look at this. Donald Trump accomplishments before taking office. Mexico agrees to end migrant caravans. That is absolutely not true. But you know what? I don't know how many followers this guy has. Does it say? He's got 3.1 million followers. And these people are reading this. And they think that every single thing that he listed on here is true. And you know what those 3.1 million, maybe not all 3.1, but you get the idea. Do you know what they're going to do with this information? They're going to pass it along to other people. Or if somebody like me says something to them about this, they're going to go, Donald Trump has already made major accomplishments before he even took office. Mexico already agreed to end migrant caravans. And then I go, okay, really? Prove that to me. And they go, you do it yourself. You prove it. And I'm like, no. This is going to be my point on how we need to fire back. But let's go over a little bit more of these. Canada closes border, ends illegal immigration. What is he talking about? America's stock market, Bitcoins hit record highs. Well, the stock market went down today. Actually, it did go back up a little bit, but Bitcoin went down significantly. And that probably has something to do with the announcement of the tariffs. And I don't care what anybody says. People say the stock market and Bitcoin are not associated with each other. I am absolutely positive that if the stock market tanks, so will Bitcoin. Xi Jinping begs for peace with America. Do you see the word he uses? Begs for peace. The only thing Jinping did was he basically said, hey, congratulations, Trump. I look forward to working with you. That's all he said. He wasn't like, oh my God, Trump's president. I'm so scared. Please be merciful on me. That's how that comes across. Putin agrees to Trump peace deal in Ukraine. That is absolutely not true. He did not agree to a peace deal. What he said was, I'm open to talking to Donald Trump about a peace deal, but he did not agree to one. But people read that. And they were going to go around and say Vladimir Putin agrees to a to a peace deal with Ukraine because of Donald Trump. Putin no longer targets the dollar. Zelensky agrees to a peace deal. Where in the hell did you see that? If you are a Donald Trump supporter and you're watching this, please send me where Zelensky said that he agrees to a peace deal. When did he do that? Hamas agrees to end war now, ceasefire in Israel and Lebanon. Thank you, Joe Biden. But you know what they're going to do? They're going to act like Donald Trump is president, and Netanyahu came out today and said that they're ending this because Donald Trump is president. And they're going to make you think that that's true. But you know what the problem is? A lot of you are going to go around and say that that's true when it 100% isn't. Finally, you get the idea, but Trump at 65% approval rating. You know what this guy does? He finds one poll somewhere where it shows Republican men are jacked up about Donald Trump, and he has a 65% approval rating with that particular group of people. But he absolutely 100% does not have a 65% approval rating. He didn't even win 50% of the vote. That's the other thing. They tell you there was a mandate. No, there wasn't. He barely won. Third lowest total from the popular vote in American history. But 65% approval rating? What are you talking about? But this is what they do over and over and over again. And not only do they have people who are in government doing this for him, like I said, they have a right-wing propaganda machine, and they just recently this isn't recent. This has been going on for years with this Joe Rogan character. And I do, I actually have even seen old clips, where they played maybe a whole montage of Joe Rogan saying very pro-democratic, liberal, whatever you want to call it, things about the climate, about transgender people, about gay people, about healthcare, pretty much everything that you would hear on the left, Joe Rogan used to say. But now he has completely shifted and turned his entire viewpoint to this radical right, because that's what they are. They're the radical right. They are very radical. And now, not only is he doing Republican and Trump talking points, he's now doing Vladimir Putin talking points. He's now talking for Russia. This is him on his stupid show recently with some... Who are these guests, by the way, that this guy has? I'm always told that he has these brilliant guests in his show. Who the fuck is this guy that he's talking to, and why am I listening to his opinion on fucking politics?
Now, and that's LA, and that's New York, and that's a lot of places that got fucked up by incompetent people.
I don't know.
There you go. Okay, so there is the Americanized propaganda. So he's using the Trump talking points. You hear the two states, California and New York. We're going to beat up on California and New York because they're the blue states and they're fucked up. You know what? California and New York basically funds this whole fucking country. But here comes the Russian talking points. And again, I don't know who the hell it is that he's talking to. If anybody in the comments knows, please let me know.
I just feel safer knowing, like,
Who's this guy?
I feel
And who's wearing sunglasses and
safer knowing that Trump is in office.
I do too.
I feel great about it. Like, I just like.
What I don't feel safer is right now they're launching missiles into Russia.
Yeah.
How are you allowed to do that when you're on the way out? Like, the people don't want you to be there anymore. There should be like some sort of a pause for like significant actions that could potentially start World War III.
How are you allowed to do that on your way out? There should be some sort of pause. other than just, this is just plain stupidity. This right here, this guy is one of the main sources where people get their political news. Well, Joe Rogan's not that political. Yeah, exactly. That's the fucking point. He's not. And he's not bright about any of this stuff. He has said some of the dumbest things I've ever heard anybody say on just talking about politics and talking about Joe Biden and trying to get Joe Biden in these things that he was completely wrong about. This is the same guy who was called out for lying to his millions of listeners that he had a friend whose wife worked in the school system and they were putting litter boxes in their school because kids wanted to associate as cats. Well, it turned out there's not one school in the entire country that did anything like that. But this guy, to his millions of people, told people that this is what was happening. Luckily, somebody in his studio every once in a while corrects this idiot, but the corrections don't matter. You ever hear whenever somebody says they put a big story on the front of the paper and then later they get it wrong? Where's the correction come? Comes on page 6. So the original story is much bigger. The correction's on page 6. So nobody really cares about the correction. They just remember the big story. So there are people who are still legitimately going around, or literally still going around, claiming that there are schools who have litter boxes in their school because kids want to associate as cats. Now, you would think, just being a grown adult, if you want to come across as somewhat intellectual, you would stop for a second and go, that sounds really stupid. I mean, that sounds outrageously ridiculous. Maybe I should put a little bit of effort into this and see if any of this is true. But no, we're not going to do that. We are going, some people, not all, but some people are still passing that along as if this is true. But let's let Joe
Maybe
finish.
that would be a good thing that we would like to avoid from a dying former president.
Mm-hmm.
It's the whole thing is nuts.
I mean, look, I don't know shit about politics. I'm not
Zelensky
gonna
says
pretend-
Putin is terrified. Fuck you, man. Fuck you people. You fucking people are about to start World War III.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Russia fired a missile today.
This goes on for 3 minutes. I'm not going to listen to 3 minutes of this fucking idiot. Fuck you. Fuck you, Joe Biden. You know what Joe Biden's biggest problem was on this? Should have let this happen months ago. Maybe a year ago. Should have let this happen a long time ago. But he's just like Donald Trump did in his first term. Defended Vladimir Putin. What has happened to this country where we're defending Vladimir Putin? How did this happen? Are there any MAGA voters, Trump voters that are watching right now? Could you please tell me, because maybe it'll help me understand. Can you please tell me why we're defending Vladimir Putin? Why we're defending Russia? What is in it for us with Vladimir Putin and Russia? And please don't say something ridiculous like, I don't understand why it's such a big deal that we have good relations with Vladimir Putin and Russia. Vladimir Putin hates us, hates the Americans, hates the United States, wants nothing good for the United States. His whole life is centered around bringing down the United States. Don't get suckered by him. The sad part is we have a president who is going to get suckered by him, who can get suckered by him. Unbelievable.